Hello, everyone.
Hey guys, welcome back to For
For
Why.
why?
That was perfect. I'm Shania,
I'm Julie.
and sorry for our week delay. I put that was my fault, but we're
I
back in
was
business.
I was not in the country. Now I'm sick, so but we're doing it.
But we're here. Do you know what I mean? We're doing this today. We're gonna be talking about pretty privilege
Yeah,
and
pretty
all
privilege
that
has
great
become
stuff.
like a big topic, I would say, in the last year or two, especially on TikTok now,
Mhm.
where there's like a trend or explaining how you experience pretty privilege.
Yeah, which I don't know how to feel about that. Like, is it narcissistic to say that you experience it or acknowledge it, or is it just like an awareness?
I mean, if you know it, some people just know that they're like beautiful.
Fair, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. Can't relate. But what is pretty privilege? Do you have your own definition of it, Julie?
So how I see it, I've definitely no, I'm not talking about myself, but I've definitely seen it
Mm-hmm.
happen. Where for me, pretty privilege is like if you're a objectively good-looking person, like
Mm.
maybe the person's not your type, but from a society standpoint, they are objectively good-looking, like how we think beautiful people should look as a society, how we portray these standards onto
Yeah.
people. I think loads of times when people meet someone like that, they have a more positive view of them, like that they're maybe successful, that they are nicer, that they are,
Mm-hmm.
um, yeah, just positive attributes. And I think I've seen it happen in school where teachers are nicer to girls that look nice. Not to say that they're like, I don't want to say that they're pedophiles or anything. That's not what I mean at all. But I think
Yeah,
it's just something subconsciously. When
that
someone's good
happens.
looking,
Yeah,
you have more sympathy for them for some reason.
yeah. So it's
What
a
about you?
basically that. It's just people receive benefits from being socially attractive in their environment, like because attractiveness is relative, especially to wherever it is around the world. So it's like the beauty standards here and attractiveness is carried and how you benefit from that. But okay, so like me, I never really acknowledged it before. Like, as you said in school, but I wouldn't even see it from teachers. It would just be from like, oh, this girl is like the popular girl because she's the prettiest girl.
Yeah.
But I've like never really experienced it in my adult life where I've paid attention to it, but maybe because apparently I benefit of pretty privilege. So
Yeah, I
like,
think definitely. So people definitely. I know Shania doesn't like hearing this, but people definitely find Shania attractive because she
she
gets
say
like
that.
flirted with random people, like in the coffee shop, like the delivery driver. Even though Shania doesn't remember this,
What delivery driver?
it doesn't matter. I remember them.
I don't remember
Shania doesn't
this.
like hearing it, but
Okay, we're gonna get into our own experiences because I don't think I benefit off of pretty privilege. I think I benefit off of exotic
mm,
privilegeness,
mm.
exoticism,
But do you also
fetishization.
think?
I think I benefit off of that.
But do you also think it's because it's not like you mixed race? That's not one. Like I mean, like white and a POC.
Yeah.
But I think it's also because you're very slender and you're very tall. And I think when people think of, like you said, an exotic woman, they might think
Mm,
more curves. But when they think of white women, they would maybe have your body type actually more in mind. You know what I
maybe.
mean?
Yeah, I get you. Because it's like I somehow aid to Eurocentric standards of beauty. But I
In
feel
that
like that
regard,
has
like your
changed.
body
We'll get
type
into
is
that.
very like tall, skinny. I mean, like models you see, like not that skinny, but the same body type as
Hmm.
like slender and tall.
Yeah.
But then you obviously have darker skin and like curly hair. And I
Yeah.
wonder if that mix is very attractive to a lot of people because it's the mix.
I don't know, maybe it is that, but I feel like it's just in general the idea of what is she
Yeah.
that makes people um talk to me more or feel inclined to have a conversation with me, because that tends to be the first thing they say to me anyway. Like when somebody approaches me and wants to talk to me, it's where are you from? And it's like, okay,
Yeah.
we've spoken about this before, so I'm not going to get into that. And but I don't know if it's my actual facial features, because I guess it's more
But
of
your
an
facial
aura I give off.
features right now are very what's um
In trend, innit?
yeah, you have full lips.
Yeah.
You have eyes that are like they're not fully like the Asian cat eye that everyone wants, but they're like, you have that
Slender,
slightly
the
yeah.
small, yeah. Yeah.
And I think a lot of people are trying to have like a tanned skin. So I think your face is very what a lot of white Instagram girls are trying to achieve.
I trying to go for. But that's my thing. I think I just aid into exoticism and fetishization rather than pretty privilege itself. Because it's
Hmm.
like, I wouldn't say, from what people like, social standards of pretty privilege, right? When you go into a club, or somewhere, and somebody offers to buy you a drink, like
Yeah.
those type of social pretty privilege things, I don't have that. Like nothing of that standard happens to me. And it's not like I'm asking for it, but like when I walk into a room, not everybody's looking at me, or that I'm conscious of anyway. So I
But
feel
I
like
think you do I think you do stand out just because
of how exotic
how
I
you
look,
look.
not,
Yeah.
yeah, not because I'm pretty per se.
But I
Like,
also because of that. It's both
do you think
mixed.
so?
Like if you were exotic and not socially attractive, then people wouldn't like it's both mixed, I think.
Possibly.
Yeah.
I
But do
don't
you
know.
think what I'm thinking is like because it has to do a bit with pretty privilege. Of course, you are like half black, or like even
Mm,
Sri Lankan is like they're tan people. They're not,
yeah.
yeah. But when you are in a classroom, do you think some of the professors have this idea that people with a certain skin tone are less or more likely to be motivated or participating? Like, do you think they have an idea of what you're gonna excel at based on how you look, i.e., your skin tone?
Oh, I feel like when we were learning specific topics,
Yeah.
the bias was already there. So like gender and sexuality, I felt like that tend to go for not POC. They didn't really, unless we were specifically talking about POC gay people or POC women, they
Yeah.
never really tended to like acknowledge or look at the black women in the room. And I felt that. But it was like, but when we were talking about black women specifically, I feel like that's the only place they were really like, oh yeah, whenever we're talking about diversity or minorities, that's the place you're gonna excel at. Just because we do such
Hmm.
a social um subject, like in film and English, we're always gonna talk about inclusivity and stuff. So in that regard, yeah, but I don't know where that would lend to in different subjects where it's more scientific or mathematic, if they have a bias to that already,
Hmm.
type of thing. But
Yeah.
I felt every time we were in uni, I felt like I was just there. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
I think
Like,
our uni, I have to say, as much as I complain about our uni, I think our
mm,
uni is so diverse in its students,
yeah,
and in some regard in its professors,
yeah.
um, that they really like. I've never felt like you and me were treated differently.
Not really, no.
Like
Like
not
I didn't,
obviously enough for me to realize, at least.
apart from that one girl. But then again, like, but yeah, no, it depends. Because remember that one girl who always used to get was favoritized, was the favorite, even though she was really jarring and was like inaccurate in most things that she said. The one with the different colored hair.
Oh yeah, but that was a
Yeah,
weird
like
class.
that was a weird class, to be fair. But I feel like because it was feminism, innit?
Yeah.
I feel like the feminist teacher tend to go for her because of her appearance.
Yeah, for sure. I think sometimes, well, I think that people look at you. For example, I think you and me, like, we're both skinny. Like, I don't know.
Mhm.
We're
We have the
not,
same body shape. Similar.
yeah, we're
Not the
not
same.
like
Similar.
model skinny, like size zero or whatever. But
No,
we're
but we're
like, we look,
tall.
yeah, I think we still look healthy, but we're skinny. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that people look at people with the body type like us, and it's like, oh, they can't be lazy. Do you know what I mean? I think people look at people that have more weight, like, oh, what a lazy, unmotivated person. Like, if they just
I
got up
get
and did
you.
something, and if people just knew how often me and Shania lie in bed, um,
Actually, you can't even talk because you're a whole gymnast. You're a
I'm
whole
just
Miss. I
saying,
have a
I do
pole in my
exercise, but
room.
I'm also lazy a lot of the time.
Okay, fair enough. But do you
I
know what? I do feel that because like I was at work and I was like out of breath for like the most nothing task, right?
Yeah,
And I said something, and then one of the managers was like, "Oh, but you go to the gym, right? Like you, oh no, he's like, you pay for the gym, right? So like, how comes da 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 da?" And I was like, "Me go to the gym. This person, no, sorry. I just think my metabolism is really deceiving to how my body actually is.
yeah,
I'm
but
the most unhealthy human being.
then there's these like a bit like more curvy, a bit maybe like plus size women, not even like fat or obese, just like,
Yeah.
not the societal norm. And like, for example, I have friends that are
Uh,
like, definitely they look like you would think maybe they're not doing exercise because they're um plus size, but they're better at me
mhm.
than gymnastics. So, you know,
Yeah,
like, you can't know by
exactly.
looking at someone, but I think you make so many assumptions about their character just by seeing their appearance. It's a bit crazy when you think about it, really.
It's a bit mad. But before we go into more of the different variations of pretty privilege, because that's like body privilege, what
Yeah.
do you think you personally benefit off of pretty privilege?
I think I don't want to say that I'm pretty because I don't know that. It's really hard to say for yourself.
You're
Like,
fucking beautiful about you. Yeah.
I'm content with my face. Okay, I'm content with my body, and that's all I'm gonna say. And
Um, sorry, it made
I
me
don't know
choke.
how other. I know Shania finds me beautiful, and I know my boyfriend finds me beautiful, and for now, that's enough. Like, it's okay.
That is enough for me. Honestly, this girl will walk out the house with no makeup, no nothing, and just be shining for the gods.
I
Like,
love that. Anyway, I can't speak for the rest of the world. Like, thank you, thank you. But what I'm trying to say is, like, I am
welcome.
white. I have brown hair, long, like brown hair. I have blue eyes, and I'm skinny. Like, I understand that most people won't be like, she is
Mm.
so ugly, I can't look at her face. Do you know what I mean?
So,
Like, I understand. Hmm?
question. So when you had blonde hair, did you find yourself getting more attention than when you had brown hair?
No, I don't think so.
No,
Because my
it was
brown hair is
the
pretty light
same.
brown. It's not like dark brown.
Mhm.
So I think it doesn't really. I think also because you could see, I don't know, I'm not sure. But people in my high school were so used to me changing my hair color all the time. So
Oh, fair enough.
yeah. But I think when you have colored hair, for example,
Uh,
people are like, oh, she's so like boy. Like, I remember a boy saying, not to me, but I heard it from someone else, that they said, oh, if she had your natural hair, she'd be so pretty. And I'd be like, okay, but like,
what?
okay, my hair is purple right now, but what is the problem? Like, I just
Well, yeah, where is the problem? How does that distract or take away from my
whatever. So I just think the way
attractiveness?
I look now, people are not going to turn me
Mm.
away. Do you know what I mean? They will be very helpful to me because I'm a nice looking girl who doesn't like, first of all, you're a woman. Most people don't mind
Yeah.
helping a woman, and then you're skinny. So most like it's so different when you're skinny than when you're bigger. Like, people will be so like inclined to help you for some reason, like more than others.
Yeah, that's weird.
So I think I get a lot of that, when I ask
Yeah.
something somewhere, I think people are way like down to help me out, like, even
Yeah.
no matter where. And I know that because, like, even in a bar when I'm there, And if I'm with Craig, for example, I will go order if it's a bartender, because the male bartender will come to a girl first.
Yeah.
Sometimes I guess that makes me aware of it, but
Hmm.
I don't think it would be like, I've seen more extreme versions of it where, yeah, I would never, like, for example, flirt with a police officer to get out of a fine or something.
I doubt you'd be like you would at all be in that predicament anyway.
Maybe not. But that I just think is like,
You're such a lovely human. Can you imagine? I cannot imagine you
I'd
being
be
in that
arguing
predicament.
with him more because I don't like the fact.
Yeah, even so, then to be like, let me just like flash my boobies at this police
But also,
officer.
I think I'm a very nice and kind person. That sounds so rude because I'm talking about myself. But I'm a
No,
very, like,
you
I have
are.
manners and I'm kind. So I think sometimes I don't know if people are helpful because of my appearance or because I was
That's
really nice to them.
honestly, that's what I mean, right? Because like I feel like I get the same amount of um reciprocation from people than when I was younger. Because when I was like, when you're younger, it just butters, isn't it? Like
Yeah.
naturally, you're just not that cute. And I feel like garner the same attention from people now as I did when I was less attractive. And it's like, I don't think that's necessarily my pretty privilege. I think that's just me because I'm a nice person. If
Hmm.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like people could say, "Oh, you get benefits at work because you're pretty." Like all the men
But
want you.
I
That's
do
what I've
think,
heard anyway. But then I'm like, no.
but what I do think
Go
is
on,
that
sorry.
you and me might have got hired quicker because we look healthy in society's sense and we are not completely like ugly in someone's eyes. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
because when I was being a waitress for a hotel, I feel like they hired, like, all the girls were like, none of them were ugly. Do you know what I mean? And they were all skinny young girls. So
Hmm.
it's like, I feel like if someone was like a bit overweight, I feel like they had less chances to get hired.
I hear that. That's yeah. To be honest, I think that too. But mine's more subconscious to even acknowledge that because I remember when we did our interview for our masters, and for some reason I really dreaded it for them to not see me in person.
Yeah.
Or even when my camera cut out, I was like, oh my gosh, she can't see me. So it just relied on my voice and my
Hmm.
personality. And like I never really clocked that. Like, why is it that I feel like I'm more desirable to be seen than to be
Yeah.
heard?
Yeah.
That's actually a good question.
Do you
Wow.
do you think you sound white? Do you people ever tell you that?
What is that? Like, yeah, do you know what? Yes, they do. Well, no, my family used to a lot. Like they used to mock how I used to say certain things, or even in school, they're like, "Why do you talk like that?" And I'm like, "Talk like what?" They're like, "You don't sound like you're from South." And I'm like, "What
Mhm.
does that even mean?" Because what does like it's not even sounding black; it's sounding like you're from South London,
Yeah.
and it's like I don't know what that means. More times I enunciate certain things the way I do is because I study English literature. Like I
Yeah.
have to. It's just the way it is. Like I study a subject which needs me to speak and articulate myself in a certain type of way.
Yeah.
But then I've just learned like that's just my voice, man. Why am I gonna put on like this hard exterior? Can you imagine me with my tone of voice, the way it sounds, its pitch? Talk like a roadman. Like, why am I doing all of that? That's weird.
Imagine
But
you and
I
me
do
talking like
get
roadmen
that.
together. That'd be the best.
Can you imagine? I can't even try and do it now. Like, I feel so sick. I feel disgusted in myself to try and talk
God.
in any type of way. But honestly, it's literally just the context that I happen to love English literature, but also they just always did when I was younger. Like I'd have such a sweet voice. Why would I even not to say that my voice is really nice, but like do you know what I mean? Like it's so
Yeah.
sweet and light. It would sound off if it was aggressive or
Yeah.
not to say that South London voices are aggressive, but more times the tone that they expect me to speak in is more rough around the edges, which is a complete bias. But I don't get it's but I got when I was younger, more you talk white, and I think they got used to me talking in that way. But why is being white being able to enunciate your words correctly? Like that's so
Yeah.
dumb to me.
You just talk
Um,
English, you know what I mean? Like you just sound English to me.
Thank you. I get a lot from certain older people that I sound American though, but I'm like probably just because of the influences that we see on TV and on social media. Like I'm would probably have like an American accent thrown in there here and there, but that's it.
Yeah.
But that's just them being like, oh, not another American English person trying to be American. Some guy said that to me,
No,
some random stranger. He was like, not another English person trying to be American. I was like, sir,
sir.
just sir, leave me alone, okay, sir. That was horrible, but you know what I mean? Like, ew, just
Yeah.
shut up, just shut
Yeah.
up. I forgot what I was gonna ask you. You know, there was a train of thought that I had, and then it flew away.
Oh.
It flew away. It's okay.
Well,
It's okay.
I learned
Uh,
about something when I was doing my research.
mhm.
And there's something called the horn effect and the halo effect.
Oh, do tell.
So the halo effect is like when you first meet someone and you like
Yeah.
them, then everything they do, they will like you will always see the positive. And many people have that effect when they see someone that's socially beautiful and the right body size and etc etc,
Yeah.
because we attribute good things with people that fit into the standard of society, like you know it's just embrained in it's just in our brain,
Yeah.
sadly, like it's just how we've been wired. Because was watching this video and this girl said that even when we watch Disney films, for example, the
Mhm.
princesses are always young, beautiful, skinny girls. They were usually white. Now they've changed. Like now we've changed so that they're also other
Of different races.
ethnicities.
Yeah.
And the evil stepsisters, the evil stepmother, the witch, they always have big noses. They're bigger. They have ugly what we consider ugly attributes,
Mhm.
and less Eurocentric, maybe even. And so it's like you see from these kids' movies, you get it taught without knowing you're being taught what good people look like and what bad people look like.
Yeah.
So the
That's
horn
true.
effect is the opposite of that. It's like, so when you first meet someone and you have a bad image of them, everything they do, you will contribute something bad to them.
Do you know what? I feel like that is the opposite for me.
Mm-hmm.
Weirdly, does that make sense? Like even though I love Disney and you grow up and seeing that, and I acknowledge that, like I feel like if I saw a less conveniently attractive conveniently conventionally attractive Disney princess, I'd be
Yeah.
like, that's weird. But for me, because like Mean Girls and shit, like watching high school things, the
Yeah.
more attractive girl I would characterize as bad. So like
Mm-hmm.
growing up, if I saw like a very attractive girl, in my head I'm thinking, oh, she's shallow or she's a bitch
Yeah.
or something bad. And if I see a less conventionally attractive girl, I mean, oh, she's probably really lovely or like goofy or like something in a down to earth positive image in my
No,
head,
I
which
get
I
that.
would connect to more. But that theory makes sense. But to me, it's the opposite because I
No,
think
I
of
do
the
get your
things we grew
point
up
as
with.
well. But then you need to think like,
Yeah,
even in Mean Girls, she's like this, like in the beginning, she's a bit weird because she grew up homeschooled and in Africa. And
yeah,
she's still, but Lindsay Lohan is still so beautiful. So really, it's
she
like,
is.
and then the same with all the makeover movies. Like the girl that's been made over, she's wearing glasses and she has her hair in a ponytail. And then they're like, wow, she's so ugly. And then she takes out the ponytail and the glass. They're like, wow, stunning. And I'm like, she's
She's
been stunning all along, but it's okay.
it's so true. It's like the transformation is not even that dramatic. Like, calm down. It's not that deep. What's that film called?
What
She's
with the
all that?
makeover? She's all that, yeah.
Yeah.
But there's so
Um,
many of those makeover scenes. Like even in Clueless, it's my favorite
yeah.
90s movie. Even there, she's like they like color her hair a different shade of red, and then they just put makeup on her and they put her in tighter dresses, and they're
In
like,
nicer clothes, like
yeah.
it's not that deep. But ah, no, I don't know. What did I
Actually,
learn?
In Clueless, the main character is way prettier than the, because there's this bitchy girl character, and that one is always portrayed as a bit uglier.
Uh,
Yeah,
but in Clueless, she wasn't even like the worst, you know.
yeah,
She's not like the worst person. But even that, I feel like her pretty privilege was only based off of her class privilege,
yeah.
which is always embedded. So like pretty privilege is what I learned. Pretty privileges always have embedded essence of class privilege and white
Ra-
privilege.
yeah, racial, yeah,
Yeah,
white
racial privilege. But I feel
because
like go on.
you go first.
I was gonna say because I've been like seeing both sides of people who had experienced the lack of pretty privilege and their bias towards it, the people who have experienced pretty privilege and experience it, and people who don't think pretty privilege is a substantial enough theory. It's more
Yeah,
the politics of desirability. So it's like, as
Re-
much as that's
really,
all
as people, we are shallow, and we judge
100%.
someone on their looks. If we weren't this look oriented,
Mm,
we wouldn't even care if someone's pretty or not. But here we are. We're a society that praises glow ups, that praises people who, it's just how we are. Here we are.
yeah. It's so funny because I was that video I sent you, Salom something is the deadliest TikTok trend if you guys will ever wanna watch it. It's such a good video. She really does depict everything. So she goes from the different body types from ancient Egypt to now.
Yeah,
So like how trends go in and out of us being skinny and
yeah,
big, and now we've reached a stage where we're in the middle of being like they pick the best parts of each
yeah.
side.
It's
So it's
so
like,
weird like, where we are right now is weird because if you're like slender, like no curves, people will be like,
mhm,
ugh, she has no ass or whatever.
yeah.
But then if you are curves but you have a belly, it's like, oh, she's obese. And it's like, okay,
Yeah.
but usually it's not like you have to be it's very rare to have like big hips, a big bum and big boobies with a skinny waist.
With a
Like
skinny
it's not
waist, yeah.
like I do have like a waist and a big butt. Like yeah, but that's not it's not like that's 100% of the women that can just achieve that. It's really a lot with your
No, it's genetics.
yeah,
But she was like, oh, they picked the best of each
of
trend.
course.
And it's
Yeah.
like, why is a body type a trend anyway? First of all, that's weird. But she was like, it's not the insecurity that the world markets off of, it's the glow up afterwards. It's the empowerment
Yeah.
that you receive.
Yeah.
So it's empowerment, that's the marketing strategy rather than the insecurity. But it's so mad how like the world just finds something and anything to make you feel insecure for you to then buy into changing that about yourself when you are just who you are. So like she was talking about BBL specifically, which
Yeah.
I think
Can
is
you
the
just explain the
dumbest
acronym for
thing.
people that don't know?
It's a Brazilian butt lift.
Yeah.
So
It's
they
like
in
the Kim K.
the Kim K booty.
Yeah.
So they inject fat from around your body to then put it in your bum, but it can't be like the littlest of fat. So you have to be a certain weight for them to then inject it from an area into your butt. But I was watching that video and she had a nurse on and she was explaining like the different scientific areas. I don't remember the names of it, but basically where they have to inject in your butt, there's like if you go too far down or too far deep in, it goes to your veins and your blood, so that fat that you're injecting in there goes straight to your lungs or your heart and it kills you
Hmm.
instantly. So
Oh
that's
my
why it's
God.
the deadliest surgery to have, but the most popular. It's so strange.
Oh my God.
And they learned that you can't be asleep. You know the what's the drug
Yeah.
that they put you on to sleep? Yeah,
Anesthesia.
anesthesia. You can't be asleep because that's the easiest way for you to die when you have that procedure because your body's relaxed, so it can go too far deep in, and
Oh
then you
God.
can't be awake and aware to tell the doctor that the needle's too far deep in, which is easier to access the veins. I did so much research on this. Don't ask me why. I got too far deep into
But you know
YouTube.
what it is? It's like, yeah, do a surgery if that's what makes you happy. Like, do whatever with your, it's your body, whatever, whatever. Like, all good, all Gucci. But it's like, okay, when I was growing up, yeah, when I was in high
Mhm.
school, the trend was to have a thigh gap. Do you remember that?
Yeah, that's still there, still
And I
here.
would be standing in my mirror and I would be looking at my thighs and I'd be like, literally, I can't, like, my thighs would always be touching. And I'd be like, I would really be wondering, like, how do I get this thigh gap? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's like, and then now, imagine I would have, I don't know, there's so many girls that got eating disorders to have that thigh gap. So
Mhm.
you're getting a long-term illness for a trend that's now, since I've graduated high school, is over, and now
Mhm.
big thighs are in. But these
Yeah.
girls were like, it's so crazy. And then the same now with the big butt. So many
Yeah.
women are getting this butt lift
That
for a trend. So they risk their lives. They put some, like, if it makes you happy, of course, whatever. But it's something so
short-lived, not
like the trend is
substantial.
short-lived, but what you're doing with your body is not. So it's like,
No,
no,
it's a permanent choice for a temporary fix.
yeah, because it's the trend. Maybe in 10 years will be with the as
With no
skinny,
butt.
because the low rise jeans is coming back into trend. You
Yeah.
can't wear a low rise jeans with a huge butt. There is no
No,
way.
there is no way. There's
So I'm
no
just
way.
saying it might change again in 2 years, and then we have all these women with like,
BBLs just
yeah,
suffering.
and then they'll be like, oh, now I want it out again, and it's so like,
Yeah,
it's just a bit fucked up.
it's frustrating, but it's like, so like in the black community, butts have always been the thing, and that has never
Yeah.
died or changed. But it's like, who is, how long was Paris Hilton the image before Kim K came? How long is Kim K
Hmm.
going to be the image until somebody else comes in and reverts it back to the Paris
Hmm.
Hilton body? And it's like, how many times is this trend gonna, why, just why is it a trend? Why is bodies being a trend? Why is that a thing? Because it's like, your
But
body will always be your body because that's just genetically how you were
also people
formed.
say the fashion industry promotes an impossible body type, which is true. But some of these girls work out really hard to get, the body they have, or some of them just
Mm,
have a good metabolism. But right now, I don't think you can say that, because the body type that's in trend and the body type that you see in runways is the opposite almost.
oh, it literally is the opposite. But it's like nobody focuses on magazines anymore like they did in the past.
Yeah,
So now it's just Instagram and the Instagram aesthetic. So
yeah,
like you said, the pretty privilege that comes now is from the BBL body with the Instagram face. And the Instagram face is the one that is a combination of trying to look exotic. Like you said, like my face naturally
yeah.
appeals to that. But
And
it's
like
funny
people
'cause it's
used
like,
to
what
make
the hell?
fun. If you think about it, people used to make fun of people with big lips. I remember this fully because I have quite like big lips.
Mhm.
But there was a person that had really big lips, and people used to make fun of them. And now it's like in trend. I'm like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
And also, like, I remember when I was younger, like, they would say, "Oh, are you poking your butt out to make it bigger? It doesn't like you doesn't look nice." But like this, and I just had like it's just what my body looks like. Like I was a
This is what
child.
it
I'm
looks
like,
like.
why are you telling me these things?
Oh my
And then
bless you.
now I'm getting praised for my butt, and I'm like, this is so like it's so strange to grow up in like, because we were growing up when it was still the skinny norm, and then it changed to the Kim
Yeah.
Kardashian norm. It was just a weird time to grow up in. I can't lie.
So coming from Luxembourg, did
Yeah.
you find your standard of beauty? Um, because I would say when we're growing up, that's when the slim thick image came through more. Like when we just hit puberty, I would say anyway. Um, did you feel like you had the pressures from Instagram and like the slim thick image, or did you still have your own Eurocentric standards of beauty
Oh,
to adhere to?
but I think um when I went to high school, Instagram just got like made.
Mm,
One sec, I need to cough.
that's it.
Sorry.
Good friend.
Instagram just got made, and but then when I was like 13, Instagram just was like posting pictures of food and like nature. It wasn't like what it is today.
Yeah.
Um, which was nice because it was just about the pictures, I guess.
Mm,
Um, so when I was growing up, it was like more, I guess, celebrities in the traditional sense, or like models
yeah.
that were like, and then obviously there was like J-Lo with the big butt. Um, but
Yeah.
J-Lo, it was like, it was almost like, oh, she's Latina, so that's the Latina beauty standard. It was almost like divided into like races. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was like, this is what you should look like as a white woman, and this is what you should look like as a, like, that's what how I felt at least.
Yeah.
So I think for white girls it was the thigh gap and like boobs, I guess, and
Okay.
not that big of a butt. I feel like, um,
Okay.
and long hair, always long hair, always. Like I heard from girlfriends, they were like, my boyfriend doesn't want me to cut my hair, and I was like, the fuck. And I always had shoulder length hair, and I was like, what? Like,
Really?
yeah, I was like, what? And girls wanted to have this. They were like, my hair needs to go to my bum, and I was always like, what is going on in the world? Like I was always so confused by it. I was like, okay, girl, if you want your hair to be going to your butt, you do you, but I just can't.
You was always socially woke before your
I
time.
don't know if I was socially woke or if I just was like, I'm not about to wait 3 years for my hair to grow. Like, I'm just gonna cut it this shoulder length. It's easy to wash. It's easy to dry. It's easy to put in a ponytail. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I
I
get
think
you.
I was just lazy. Like, I was like, it's not worth it.
It's not even you like rejecting the fucking male gaze and the patriarchy. It's you being like, I'm lazy. I don't want
I
to
just
do all
can't be asked. I
that.
don't know. And then
That is
I feel like
hilarious.
when the Kardashians came along and Instagram got bigger, I feel like now it's like this beauty standard for all women. Like as long as
Yeah.
they're in Western society, because obviously Eastern society always has different beauty standards. But I feel like right now every woman has the same. It's like, be a little bit tanned, please. Don't be too pale.
Oh my
Um,
God.
have nice
Yeah.
thick hair. Have a nice brows. Have a skinny waist. But please have some boobs and some butt too.
Some butt too. Just throwing some
It's
ass.
like, but that
I
applies
have
to. I feel like it applies to every woman now, and like
like anywhere you go, apart from like Asia.
yeah, they definitely have different. Like in Asia, they
They
want to be
definitely just
pale and stuff, and they
see
yeah,
and
they
yeah,
definitely like. I think what we're talking about now, we have to
it's just
focus.
Western.
It's really focus on Western beauty
Yeah.
standards because
So
it's so different anywhere in Africa or in Asia.
I don't know, I still feel like Africa kind of adheres to some westernized. I am overgeneralizing. Let me shut up. Some
Mm.
places I can see, like in Nollywood, right? When we watch Nollywood, they kind of adhere to
Yeah,
that same standard because they still like to be paler, but because they're black, it's not going to be like white
yeah.
skin
I guess that's
and
true for
have
the Bollywood
certain
as
type
well
of
because they usually have Indian people that are not dark Indian people. They're a bit
yeah. But they still want to about like in Nollywood they still have like big bums or big boobs
yeah,
and like perfectly shaped bodies and then like
yeah,
some Caucasian influence on their face.
yeah.
But yeah, I have a perfect quote. Okay, so shout out to Khadija. You're probably not gonna start podcast, but she's a YouTuber. I don't know how to pronounce her last name. It's Mbowe on YouTube,
Hmm.
and she like facts checks and she goes on like Google Scholar and like finds all these like proper intellectual essays and shit to do with social commentary. But she quoted somebody else and I forgot who she quoted, and they had like an interview with this makeup artist, and he was like, it's the beauty standard now is having overly tan skin, South Asian influence with brows and eye shape, an African influence with the hips, a Caucasian influence with the nose, a cheek structure that is predominantly Native American and Middle Eastern.
Hmm. So
And it's
true.
she called it rootless exoticism,
It's
which is
like, yeah, you
mad.
keep picking the one thing you find
From
attractive about that
from
race, and
everywhere and like putting it into one person and just being like, bam, that is the perfect human or the
yeah, and I
perfect
feel like
ideals of a woman.
that's where we're at now. Where I felt like maybe 3 years ago it was more like this is what we want white women to look like, and it was very
Yeah.
like, you know. But I
So
feel like
that's
now
like
it's like this is what we want Western women to look like. We
to
don't
look like
care.
overall, yeah,
Yeah,
because I wouldn't even say pretty privilege is intertwined with white privilege anymore. Of course, the Caucasian Eurocentric influences with some small features is still there, and
yeah.
lighter skin is still there, but it's like it's
I
not
also feel
the
like
same.
maybe a few years ago, like not like five, but like longer ago, if you
Hmm.
were black with Eurocentric features, you would still be like, oh, she's black, so you wouldn't have the privilege. But nowadays, because we like fetishize mixed
Yeah,
race looks, if you're black with Eurocentric features, people will be like, wow, beautiful,
yeah.
amazing, everything, you know?
So even with that, again, Julie, I was lost in YouTube. Shout out to
Mhm.
T Noah. She basically spoke about like the average looking black girl compared to like the black girl magic that we see on
Yeah,
Instagram. It's like if you have money,
yeah,
right? You're dark skin or you adhere to like average looking black features, but you have money, then you're automatically beautiful. Like all these celebrities that are dark skin but not conventionally attractive
yeah,
automatically look more beautiful. Or like if you're just got the Eurocentric features or just like always looking so um unrealistically pretty like
yeah,
all the time, it's like a standard for black women that is like the top, but that's not what all black women look like.
yeah.
And it's like then they're being reduced
Also,
to being average looking, and it's like
there's
anti-blackness within
so
itself.
many black women on like alone in like America or Africa. Like, I'm just saying, how do you expect everyone? Like, it's just crazy. Like, they
Do you know
come
what I mean?
from like, you know how big Africa is. Like, they come from like completely different places, and you just expect it. Like, it's just
They
crazy.
all to look like this one standard of like black girl magic, which doesn't it's not realistic because not all of those black girls who exude that are gonna look at that and be like, I look like that. Why don't I look like that black girl? Like she can even
Even
have
like Winnie Harlow, you know, the model with the
mm,
skin condition.
yeah,
Like,
it's
people were
like a
like, wow, we're, you know, this girl with this skin condition is becoming so famous. But if you just look at her face,
yeah.
she could
It's
be like, I'm
she's
not
an
trying to say,
average. She's not ugly. She's but
no,
she
I'm
was an
just saying,
average
I
looking
think,
black girl, if that makes sense in that context, right?
yeah, but I'm just saying she's still like the model body type.
Yeah.
If she was this person with a skin condition with a regular like body, like a not
Hmm.
slender model body, I don't think she would have been a model. Like, you know, they celebrate this like a breakthrough because she
Yeah.
has a skin condition, but she is still the standard for modeling. Like,
Yeah. There's nothing other than her vitiligo that's like extraordinary.
so it's
Plus
like,
she's
I
a
don't know.
horrible person, you know.
She is. I
She's
heard that
quite a
too.
bitch. No, I don't know you personally, but I've heard. Um Yeah, no, I think it's just mad because it's like, oh, she's pretty in spite of being black. Does that make sense?
Mm,
Like she's got this resounding feature that makes her look so good that like directly
mm,
opposes just like every regular black woman in
mm,
some way. And it's like, oh, as much as you're trying to celebrate blackness, it was almost as a rejection of it still. It's
mm.
kind of mad. But that's why I couldn't say like I couldn't sit here and say hey, I'm a black woman because I know I adhere to the exoticism that's fetishized and is popular now. Or
Hmm.
even before, like it couldn't it couldn't be me, you know?
Yeah. Also
It's a lot.
with one thing that's really like it's going back a bit, but like with the tan
Mm,
skin,
mm,
you know? when I was growing up, I was always like, I don't really feel like lying in the sun and risking a sunburn just to be a little tan.
Is
Like,
that a lux? Is that a not a European thing because every European country has their own specific
no, but it's a
treatment of
very
that?
white woman thing to want to
Is
be
it?
tan.
Is
Yeah.
it really? Because I feel
Yeah.
like it's mostly in the UK.
No, no. Yeah, but you guys do it with creams and like
Bit
a
tan, yeah.
fake tan. I think in Europe it's more like when you go on holiday, you want to go tan. So,
Mhm.
I think in Europe you would never, like most people would never do it with spray because we don't want to look orange. I'm sorry, UK. Um,
Thanks, Finn. Sorry. It just looks awful. No offense.
yeah, but like I don't know. It's always been like I never wanted to lie in the sun for hours and hours and cook there like a chicken. And I think loads of people are like, I need to lie in the sun and be as tan as possible when I come back from my holiday. And I know, like, I have a friend that has like a very hard time even tanning a little bit, and she's been so insecure because she's so white, like literally pale. And I was
I
always
have
like,
a
but
lot of
who?
friends like that too.
But I was like, who cares? Like, your skin, like,
Yeah.
I was always like, your skin tone, it fits your face and it fits your features. Like, I was like, who gives a shit? I was like, if we were in
Yeah.
the 18th century, people would love to have your skin.
Yeah.
Like,
That's why I was gonna ask you because not being tanned back then was a sign of richness, right? Because you're
yeah,
not out in the sun
yeah,
to be able to get tanned because you're not working, like you're not of working class. So
yeah.
when you was growing up, was that always a thing, like to be tanned, or was it just
Yeah.
like
No, always, 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 always.
always? Is it a sign of
Yeah.
richness or is it just a sign of
I
beauty or
think
both?
nowadays it's the sign that you can go on holiday. That's why.
Yeah. So
Um,
classism, that's
yeah.
mad.
But for me, it was always like, but still, when I get tanned, I get excited. But I'm like, actually, who gives a shit? Like, I'm pale and I've accepted that I'm pale. Like, what am I gonna do?
But it's like almost like white fragility. Like, why is it a problem if you're pale? You know, like to me, it's just beautiful. Some of my friends have the most porcelain skin, right? And they're like, oh, I'm just like a milk bottle. I turn blue. And I'm like, but it's actually really pretty.
It's
Like, it
just, I
suits you
don't.
so well.
When you think about it, it's like society is telling black people to literally bleach their skin so they look like less, like if they're really dark
Like a
skin.
fucking ghost. Like, fucking, what's her name? Little Kim. What is she doing? Sorry,
Yeah,
sidetrack.
they want to have like a lighter brown. And
Yeah.
then white women want to be like a tan. Like it's actually like, can we not just all like, it just annoys me that people are like trying to change their natural skin. And it's like it's so crazy to me that we put chemicals on our body to
To
be,
try and look
it's
the
crazy.
this like middle ground of a person, which is
Yeah.
just
No, I'm just
against
saying
like
if
it's
you put on
weird.
fake tan and that makes you happy the way you look, you go.
Go
Oh.
for it. Honestly, do whatever you need to do to make you happy because that again, nobody's here to tell you
I am
otherwise.
just saying from my own personal experience,
Yeah.
usually the skin tone you have or that you get naturally from the sun, like a little bit, like not trying to get the deepest tan ever, but like naturally what you get in the summer, it's usually
Yeah.
the skin tone that looks best for you because that's your skin tone. That's all I'm just saying.
But isn't it ironic how like the body positive or the self-acceptance movements that keep happening is just
Mhm.
so opposite of that because it's like people take that left field and be like, oh no, but if you don't look like this anyway, you're not happy. Or you have to adhere to tanning. I don't know. Is 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 altering yourself accepting yourself or being happy with yourself? Really
I
and
think for
truly.
me, I have a really like I've built my opinion on this like throughout the years. For me,
Mm,
if someone had a nose and they've been bullied for that nose and they really have a problem with their nose, and they
mm,
change it to just be like more like maybe they put the bump out of their nose, like something like that.
yeah.
And now they have the confidence of like whatever. Uh,
Mm,
and now they're like feel like they can do anything. Great, amazing. What I have a problem with is these people that change it as like it's not the problem within themselves. It's just like they got the problem from looking at how someone, do you know what I mean?
how it looks, yeah, I get you.
And they're like, I need to change this now. Oh, but now the trend is like this, so I need to change this now. So it's more like looking like it's not a problem really within yourself. It's more like you got the problem within yourself because you looked at other people too much.
I get you.
And it's also the people that get like 20 surgeries. Like, I mean, again, if it makes you happy, but I think a therapist would probably make you happier.
Do you know what I mean? Because even Kim Kardashian, the ideal standard of womanism, right?
Yeah.
She has body dysmorphia. So it's like
They
she said
get all
that in an
these
article.
surgeries and they still filter themselves and edit themselves on their pictures. So
And
that's that on that.
that's fine. I use filters all the time. It's just more like, when is it gonna be where you take a look and a step back to say, hey, I am the way I am and I have to accept that. It's a journey that everyone has to go on. But it's like it needs to happen rather than just saying, I have money, so I'm gonna do that. And I even wondered to myself, like, if I had the money to get surgery, would I actually do that? Probably not.
Probably not.
Probably
I
not.
just think it's such a big self development to actually look in the mirror and like learn to love
Mm.
yourself and your body for who like for what it is, that it's
Yeah.
so much more worth, even if that takes longer than a surgery, might take years and years, it's so much more worth it than just spending money for surgery, in my personal opinion. Everyone do whatever they want with their lives.
Do you know what I mean? Okay, my final question for you, my friend, is
Oh,
do
I
you
have a
think
point to make, but you asked the
okay,
question first.
okay, sorry, my final question for you anyway. Um, do you think pretty privilege is a substantial privilege for people to even like acknowledge? Like, is it even a thing? Is it important? What do you
I
think?
think what's more important to address is class privilege and white privilege, like just how, because I think even though pretty privilege, oh my god,
Hmm.
um, can form a lot of people's opinion for first looking at someone.
Yeah,
I think something like class privilege can do so much more harm or whatever in the world,
yeah,
and so does white privilege because it stems in racism. Like that's so much more of a deeper issue
yeah.
than you
Pretty
know
privilege.
they're both issues, but I feel like the white privilege one is worse because it stems from racism, which is like
Yeah,
we need to figure that one out.
we do need to figure that one out.
What I wanted to say
Uh-huh.
for my last point, but because we were talking about Kim Kardashian,
Uh,
I saw a clip today of Kylie Jenner speaking about when she was pregnant, that her biggest fear, okay,
uh.
was that her child would have her lips.
Huh.
If that's not sad, I don't know what is, and I want everyone to
Is
think
that why
about
she
that.
went with a black man? Is that like for me? I feel like that's the only reason why they go for black men is so that their children cannot have the insecurities they had growing up, or as in like
Yeah,
they have now, so that their children will be the more beautiful version of them in their
yeah,
heads. That makes sense because they will possess the things that they wish they had. Like
yeah.
that's mad to me.
And what if her
Um,
child had her lips? Would
thinner
she have
lips.
told her to hate her? Like, what would
Do
you
you know
have
what I
done?
mean?
Yeah,
Black people be having thin lips too, you know. They get twisted. I've met some black people with like the thinnest lips, and
but I can't believe
like
that was her
that's
biggest
okay.
fear. Like her biggest fear wasn't that she was gonna have an illness. No, no.
No, like no. I think we're pretty privileged. I don't know. I guess because, like I said, I probably just don't acknowledge my own to why I don't think I have it or have it as much. But like, I don't think it's the worst thing in the world. Like, for me, when I was watching, the reason why I brought this topic up to Julie was like, I watched a video of a woman talking about how she doesn't have pretty privileges and how it affects her life. And it more seemed like she said it's not self-hatred because she loves herself, but to me, it just sounded like all the inconsequential things that happen. But I guess because I don't experience that, I don't understand and I shouldn't judge her for that. But
Mm-hmm.
it was just like, oh, when I walk into a room, no guy comes up and talks to me, and how she's still single, and how she thinks she's never going to have children because she's just unattractive in the
Oh my
views of
god.
society. Yeah, and it was just a lot. But then in terms of like fat phobia or being disabled or classism or racism, there's so much in pretty privilege that is problematic, that doesn't
Mhm.
really get dissect as much past being getting attention from men.
Yeah.
Like I feel like that's the problem. And
Yeah.
people getting jobs based off of their attractiveness is also a problem. But again,
Yeah, for
it's
sure.
not something that you can really acknowledge. Like I think it just happens that you don't really know it's happening type of
I
thing.
also think pretty privilege can be subjective because you can find someone way prettier than someone else and treat them
Yeah.
differently. Whereas if you are racist, a white person's a white person, isn't it? Like,
Do you know what I mean? It's the politics of desirability. I think I prefer that phrase after all of it, after all the research I did,
yeah,
compared to pretty privilege.
yeah,
Like, because you can be desirable in different contexts than just the
yeah,
way you like look
for
or
sure.
the way the society thinks you're pretty. But yeah, that was my
And just
intake.
to end this on
Also,
a note, oh, you go first.
mm, oh no, I was going to talk about this. I also saw this fucking TikTok trend where people dress up as the male gaze or the female gaze.
Let's not do that.
Which that's please not. Let's do that. Let's not do this, please. Let's not do that. I beg. TikTok,
TikTok
you
always
need to
talks
stop.
about stuff they actually don't have any idea what they're talking about.
They
There,
have
I said it.
no idea what it's talking about. You just need to stop it. Stop it right now. Anyway, I'm done.
I just wanted to say as the last point, this is all our
Mm,
opinion. If you don't agree with one of the points, that's okay. If you feel like you need to
please
discuss it with us, message us.
DM us or put it in our Instagram comments, YouTube comments. Let us know. We're open
If
to
you're mad, you're mad.
conversation. If you're
Stay
mad,
mad.
you're mad. And if you want us to like delve into something, because we spoke about a lot of things in a short amount of time. So
Yeah.
if you want us to talk about something more specifically in depth, please let us know. That would be
Okay,
nice.
bye,
Love you
guys.
guys. Thank you for listening.
See you next week.
See you next week.
Oh, not.
Stupid.